Hi, everyone.
Hey everyone, happy Friday and happy Super Bowl weekend to those who celebrate. Hard to believe that we're through the first week of February and that the Super Bowl is upon us. People like me will be watching for the commercials. Being a sad Cowboys fan, that's what I'm watching for this year.
Right. And maybe a kind of bittersweet Cowboys fan, since we learned this morning that Kansas State's O-line coach is going to go coach for the Cowboys. So happy for Connor Riley, sad for K-State. Happy for the Cowboys?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get hopefully everyone had a great week. We'll get started as usual with some deals. YouTube TV still at their $69.99 for the first 6 months, and with the offer ending end of March, and they're offering a free trial right now of 21 days. Fubo still at the $25 off of Essential for the first month and $20 off for Pro and Elite. Sling is offering the same deal as last week, half off for the first month and a free month of AMC Plus. And some device deals if you're looking for a new device. Some of them actually better than Black Friday. Both Roku and Fire devices are on sale through various retailers. Roku, like $10 off the streaming stick, 4K to $20 off the Ultra, or $35 off the Ultra 4K. Similar with Fire devices, including $20 off the Fire TV stick, so you can find that Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, other retailers. And Peacock is offering a deal through February 18th, which is a week from Monday or a week from Tuesday.
Tuesday, I think.
Yeah. $29.99 for the year, only on the ad-supported plan. And with the code WINTERSAVINGS, and all together, and we'll have that those links in the video after we're done going live. So with it being Super Bowl weekend, I just thought, we had the video that we did on Monday on how to stream the Super Bowl for free on Tubi, but just some additional details that have come out over the week about it. So just a reminder, kickoff is 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox on Sunday. You don't need a live service to watch the game. If you want to watch the game and you don't have an antenna and you don't want to sign up for a service, you absolutely don't need to. You can get it through Tubi. So please don't fall for the trick that you have to have a live service to get the game. Hopefully, Tubi can withstand the traffic that they're hoping that they're going to get through it. We would recommend, if you don't have, because Tubi, you don't need to have an account to use it, but you do for the Super Bowl. They're forcing you to register. You don't need a credit card or anything like that, but you do need to register an account. If that's the route that you're planning on going to watch the game, then we would recommend signing up for it before Sunday, just to try it out. And it's right on the home screen, right, Nicole? To sign up for
just up along the top. Look for the Super Bowl button.
Yeah. But if you do want a live service, as I mentioned, YouTube TV, also Hulu Live, DirecTV Stream, and Fubo all have free trials. But if you go that route and you don't typically have a service, make sure that you cancel after the game. Yes, Tubi will have pregame shows for the Super Bowl. They are starting, I believe it's at 2 Eastern. They're doing some special things, but which is going to be on before that. And per the Streamable, they reported that if you watch the game on Tubi, you're going to get the exact same commercials that you would get if you're watching it over antenna or a live service or whatever. It's the same ads that you're going to get. If you're a Comcast customer, the game will air in Dolby Atmos and Vision if you're part of Xfinity's TV's enhanced 4K offering on X1 devices. And per the TV Answer Man, YouTube TV is offering their 4K add-on for free for 30 days. The catch is you have to be a new subscriber to the add-on. So if you've had it in the past and canceled it because it wasn't worth a value to you, you can't get it. But if you haven't used it in the past, you can get it for free for 30 days. And
did you mention the delay?
Oh yeah, sorry, the delay. So be prepared for delays via a live service, as the past 2 games have had delays of almost 90 seconds, with Fubo being the worst and YouTube TV being among the best. So just keep that in mind if you're going through a live service. And we're going to discuss, Matthew, Disney Plus here in a bit. But anyway, that's everything up until the last 10 minutes that I saw about the Super Bowl. So yeah, again, don't feel that you have to get a live service. Tubi's a great platform if you want to get free content. So yeah, just as I said, I would highly recommend you registering the account now if you've not done so you're ready to go on Sunday.
Yep. And like John said, we have a video that walks you through how to do that, so you can watch.
Yeah, that came out on Monday.
Yep, watch our short video there if you need some help. I will say, Matthew, it's funny you mentioned the ads on Disney Plus on the ad-free tier. We got an email from Hulu this week telling us that their terms of service had changed, and I took the time to read it because I was just curious to see what was in there. And one of the things they mentioned was that you would see ads even on ad-free, even if you were subscribed to an ad-free plan. So I don't know if that has, I don't know where you're seeing the ads. It could have something to do with Hulu content. We know that's been on Disney Plus for a while.
So was it live? I didn't read the email. But is it on live content that they're showing it, or is
no? On demand stuff on Disney Plus. If you have, now we got that from Hulu, so we have Disney Plus and Hulu. So that maybe that's what you're seeing, Matthew. I'm not sure, but that jogged my memory when I saw your comment. So
yeah, and that's a great question. Great question, James, about canceling YouTube TV and moving to Sling. They have, if you search for Sling add-ons, add-on plans, it'll take you to their site, and the add-ons
Optimizer, I think it's called.
That page should show you all of the different channels that are in the different add-ons.
And they have we've done a video on it in the past. So unless Sling got rid of it, they had an optimizer tool where you could put in the channels you want specifically, and you can enter as many as you want, and then they will populate below what package you need from them to get them all. And you can like mix and match to get it to what you're happy with. So check that out. Okay, so our next item is about price hikes. Ooh, don't we hate them? Just some data came out from Parrot Analytics that streaming services, and the media companies that own them are benefiting from these price hikes. So we just wanted to talk about that for a minute. You would think that as services raise their price, they would see increased churn or subscribers canceling their plans because they don't want to pay for that. And that's true. They do see a slight uptick, but they've all recovered. And so looking at this chart, for example, Apple TV Plus went from $7 to $10 in October of 2023. And then Peacock went from $6 to $8 a month in its ad-supported tier, and $10 to $14 a month for its ad-free tier in July of 2024. And churn came down after a few months. Revenue spiked. So for Apple, its churn rate went up to just over 10% after it raised rates in 2023. But that churn rate has fallen for 3 quarters in a row, and it's now down to just under 7%, or as of Q3 of last year. Peacock, its churn rate rose from about 5.5% to about 7.5%, and then it was flat in Q4. So these are just 2 trends that are, and then the revenue for both of them went way up. Why does that matter? Well, it just means that price hikes are working, and as we have long
working
said,
for the companies.
Working for the companies, yes. Not for us, but they're working for them. And we've said this before, but those companies are going to keep raising rates until they find the ceiling. And the ceiling is going to be when enough people cancel and don't come back, that they start to see their subscriber numbers going down to a point where they're, unhappy with it. I don't know what that ceiling is, but I know the only thing we can do about it is really stay on top of your streaming subscriptions, pay attention to what you're actually watching, and be aware that prices are going up. You may not even realize it necessarily, so look at your bill and decide if the increased price is worth the value you get from it.
Yeah, for sure. And, you didn't mention about Peacock and their growth. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So Peacock's most recent earnings report show that it has continued to narrow its losses to close out the year, even though total subscribers remain flat. Revenue grew by 49.5% in the third quarter. And so, we've said Peacock is struggling, and it is, but these numbers are still moving in the right direction for them. The
larger point, Nicole, is or that we're trying to make here is that we would argue that some of these numbers don't really tell the whole story, because Apple has been, albeit has a very small library, has been continuously and purposely adding unique and acclaimed content, and that's driving viewership, and Peacock is doing similar. So
that's true. They do have a couple of reality series, The Traitors, which we haven't watched, but we've seen ads for it, and another show from Bravo, actually, which was one of the few linear channels they kept, driving viewership.
Are keeping. They've not.
Excuse me, are keeping. Anyway, that's driving engagement on the platform, and that's a very good point, John, as to why churn could be down. There's enough content keeping people there, despite the price increase.
Yeah, and what Nicole's gonna discuss here in a minute is Disney announced their earnings this week, and their CEO, CFO, and others commented on how, and I think it was mainly the CEO, about how they're going to continue with price hikes, because they want to see what that ceiling is, and they believe that they can do that. And so they're seeing that on some level they're working, and it's Disney, and they want to make money, and so it's just going to continue. So I think on our next topic, I think probably the biggest news that came out this week was Fox announcing that it's going to be launching its own app by the end of the year. That's been a common question that we get from viewers, and the Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch announced on Tuesday that it's finally going to launch its own direct-to-consumer streaming app by the end of this year. So by end of 2025. This is significant given that outside of the early days of Hulu, Fox has largely stayed out of streaming. And it has long held out because they say they didn't want to cannibalize money it receives from pay TV distributors. Murdoch said in the earnings call on Tuesday, quote, "We see the traditional cable bundle as still the most value for our customers and frankly the most value for our company," unquote. And so it's really interesting to see him say that. This might have been true a decade ago, but I would argue that it's not any longer, very possibly. And Fox obviously has Tubi, and they also have Fox Nation, which carries a mix of original content and some material from its Fox News channel, and has about 2 million plus subscribers, and was also part of Venue, obviously. And from Deadline, they say, quote, "There was no name given and few details, but on a post-earnings call with Wall Street analysts, Murdoch said the parent of Fox Nation is working on something bigger designed to reach the large population of cord cutters and cord nevers who are not in the traditional cable bundle," unquote. And again, he promised more later, but asked if the upcoming service would include news. Fox News is going gangbusters, their quote, as well as sports. He said yes, that it would be, in fact, a holistic app of all the company's content. So this is going to be their sports, FS1, FS2, Fox News, Fox Business, I would assume FX. So everything that's under the Fox umbrella, they're going to have in the streaming app. And then he said, quote, "We do not want we have no intention of turning a traditional distribution customer into a DTC customer. So our subscriber expectations will be modest and we're going to price the service accordingly," unquote. He went on to say that his intention is for Fox not to have exclusive rights. So think like Prime Video or Peacock and having exclusive rights to different games. And he says it's merely meant to be a package of their existing content, intending to keep spending low. So it's fair to expect that the pricing to be high enough to discourage pay TV subscribers from cutting the cord. And so it's really fascinating to see this, a late entrant into streaming. But it begs a few questions. What will happen with the Fox content that's currently on Hulu? Will they try and pull the content when agreements are up to move it to their new streaming app? Will it stay on both? What about possibilities of it being bundled with the ESPN DTC app that's coming out this fall? Will it include Fox local channels? How long will Fox stick to its story of no exclusive rights? And how much will it cost? And sports is really going to be the key driver there. Fox News is also winning the rating wars relative to cable news. So it'll be fascinating to see what they price it at and where the rest of its content shakes out. And given where the sports leagues are going, primarily football and basketball, well, basketball is tied up, but it'll just be interesting to see where this goes in terms of exclusive rights, if they really stick to their story. Yeah. I personally would like to see them add Fox locals to it, because that would give it a leg up versus someone like Hulu or Disney Plus. So really fascinating to see how this will work out.
And interesting to see them doing it, to your point now, when Paramount, even in the chat, talks of could Paramount Plus and Peacock merge. You think of, that's NBC and CBS. They were out of the gate faster to start their own streaming platforms, and it doesn't seem to be working. So why would Fox do this now? Guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
and maybe down the road, all three of them could merge.
Sure. Yeah.
Crazy.
Hulu 2.0.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about our next item, which is the other big, behemoth really in the sports world, Disney. They released their earnings on Wednesday. The numbers were largely a mixed bag if you look at the company overall, but Disney was pleased with its streaming numbers. So Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers in the quarter as a result of churn, thanks to its price hikes in October of last year. But its streaming portfolio, which includes Hulu, had a profit of $293 million versus a loss of $138 million over the same period last year. So it's really, if you look at year over year, that's a huge difference to go from, they've almost 200 million negative to almost 300 million positive. And it was the third straight quarter of profitability for the streaming side. Earnings were ahead of what analysts thought they would be. And then subscribers, between Disney Plus and Hulu, there was 178 million subscribers. That's up slightly. Disney Plus had 124 million subscribers. Hulu had just 53 million. And then, what are some things that Iger is saying? Disney CEO, get that one up here. That we thought this was interesting, or excuse me, not Iger, but the CFO, Hugh Johnston, talked about price hikes, and he says that they will continue with Disney. That's not surprising. Short term, he said they won't increase, but long term, he was very specific that price hikes will continue. And, given our discussion last week about the future of streaming, he said that Disney plans to straddle that linear and streaming landscape. He said, quote, "The linear networks and streaming are in many ways two sides of a coin because the content we produce ends up in both locations. So in many ways, we've perfectly hedged the business." Even at that, CEO Iger did not write off selling some of Disney's smaller linear networks. Given that there was a decline of 11% there, it'll be interesting to see how long Disney holds on to those smaller networks. And not surprising, the CFO said Disney Plus is going to be the main platform that it pushes its content out through. That makes sense when they moved Hulu over there and they're putting ESPN Plus content over there. ESPN Plus content. This article in the Wall Street Journal talked a little bit more about that. It said that Disney plans to add new live sports shows that'll be exclusive to Disney Plus, including a daily episode of SportsCenter, and that it aims to launch its ESPN direct-to-consumer service early this fall, and that will be available on Disney Plus. They're calling it Flagship, which is that
right now.
Right now, it's called Flagship. Hopefully, let's hope they come up with a better name, please. Iger said the plan will be to launch Flagship sometime towards the fall of this year, and we're quite excited about it because it gives us an opportunity to bundle it with Disney Plus and Hulu. And then we'll get really smart and strategic about pricing there. But it gives consumers the option of staying in a sports-only experience or combining it with their other services. And again, he's touting the convenience, which I suppose it is there. If you subscribe to all three, you only have to go to Disney Plus to access them all. I think the convenience is nice. I wonder personally, I think it's just interesting from a marketing perspective that Disney always kept kind of ESPN separate. And there used to be people that didn't realize Disney owned ESPN. And so I just wonder, like, logically, will it make sense to people to be going to Disney for sports and more mature content through Hulu? So, I mean, either way, they're going there, so they're going to have to make it work. But it'll be interesting to see. And given all that, it just leaves us with a few questions even about that Flagship service. Like, what will be the price? Is it going to be more than that $25 to $30 range that most people are expecting? Will it ever add your local ABC channel in there? And again, the confusion.
To Disney Plus.
Excuse me, to Disney Plus. Are you going to be able to get your local ABC channel there? And then finally, what's going to happen with ESPN Plus? What does that look like once Flagship is out?
Yeah, and one thing that you had left out, Nicole, is that sort of his reasoning for why they're trying to put the direct Flagship inside Disney Plus. And he said, quote, "It also gives us the ability to use it as an introductory offer, sort of a ESPN digital offer. And ultimately, when Flagship is launched, people who use the ESPN tile will have an opportunity to subscribe to a Flagship right from that tile. And if they do subscribe to it, then it becomes a completely integrated app experience with Disney Plus and Hulu. So it's there to improve, but to do two things: to benefit Disney Plus and Hulu, and also ultimately benefit ESPN Flagship." And what they didn't answer is if the Flagship will be available outside of Disney Plus on its own. We would hope it would, but I think they're being cagey there.
Well, there is the ESPN app that exists, so it would make sense to roll out the live version within there for people that don't have the bundle, I would think.
So next on the sports, Amazon could be ramping up its investments in regional sports networks. Continue to be a source. RSNs continue to be a source of pain for streamers, with many of us having to pay for it $15, $20, $25 a month on our streaming or cable plan, even if we don't want them. We've discussed in detail about how Amazon has been involved with the former Bally Sports channels, now Main Street Sports Group. And those channels are supposed to launch sometime this month within Prime Video. Now Amazon came out this week, has emerged as a potential savior for the MSG networks. That's a network that airs the New York Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, and New Jersey Devils games. The deadline is today, and the New York Post reports that MSG wants to make a deal to avoid bankruptcy rather than ask for another extension of its loan situation, which currently sits at $829 million in debt. Per the Post, the channel is, quote, currently blacked out for about 1 million New York area subscribers because of the contract dispute with the Optimum Cable Network, unquote. The channel has defaulted on its loans, but lenders have extended their payment deadline multiple times, most recently from January 10th to midnight tonight. The channel needs cash from a new outside investor to refinance a debt load and hand over a stake in the channel in return. Prime Video is already an investor in the Yes Network that airs Yankees and Nets games, with Prime now airing weekly Yankees games in the New York City area. Given what we discussed last week about Prime Video cutting back on its investments and content, but keeping the sports spending level or increasing a little bit, it would make sense for them to go this route. And given just the other sports that they're collecting, it's really fascinating to see them go this route. Outside of that, I don't really see Prime Video as a compelling option to subscribe standalone. And also, the MSG streaming app, Gotham Sports app, costs $30 a month and reportedly has not attracted a large subscriber base. So it'll be interesting to see if they throw a rope to the MSG network. Sorry. Match there.
No worries. Okay, well, for our last topic, I hope this is of interest to you guys, and I'm going to try to kick it off in the fashion of the game show with a question for you to consider. This company has secured the ability to sell next day streaming rights for Jeopardy starting in the fall? And the answer would be, what is Sony? So, okay, kind of cheesy, but yes, I do like Jeopardy. And if you like it, then you might be interested to know that, yes, Sony is claiming it is going to be able to sell the next day streaming rights this fall. Why does that matter? Well, it's very popular, but it's hard to stream if you don't have a premium live service like YouTube TV or cable. And so there's kind of a little bit of a brouhaha coming up around this between Sony and CBS. They were embroiled in a legal dispute over not just Jeopardy, but also Wheel of Fortune. And before I get into that a little bit more, we thought it was interesting to learn that 14% of Jeopardy viewers are actually watching episodes that are illegally uploaded to YouTube. And so the showrunner, Michael Davies, is acknowledging that, maybe it's time for us to get into the 21st century and make this show available more widely so that people don't have to watch it on YouTube illegally. According to TV Insider, now more about CBS and Sony, this is just their legal dispute is the newest in a string of developments that have unfolded since October when Sony sued CBS over distribution and who gets to distribute Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. This week in the Los Angeles Superior Court, Judge Kevin Brazil granted CBS a temporary restraining order that would block Sony from assuming distribution of both shows. And the Hollywood Reporter, which I was showing earlier, said the judge granted CBS temporary restraining order so that it can't distribute Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And earlier this week, Sony, which actually produces Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, said it had taken on that role after claiming that CBS had breached a long-standing contract to distribute the two shows. CBS then filed the restraining order seeking to keep terms of the deal in place. So in short, what's going on? These two companies are suing each other because these are very popular shows. They're lucrative, they're syndicated in the US, and they both want the money. They both want it. So they're suing and countersuing. And it really, oddly enough, goes all the way back to the 1990s when Sony received the rights when it acquired Merv Griffin Enterprises, and then CBS got those rights when it bought King World. They worked together over the years, but the relationship is obviously fraying. Thankfully for Jeopardy fans, this should not cause the shows to not air. CBS says it will continue to distribute episodes of them without interruption, and a conference between Sony and CBS is set to take place on February 18th. So we'll have to see. Hopefully they can find a way to take this out of just cable or your over-the-air antenna.
Yeah,
satellite.
Won't be eventually. So yeah, that's all we have this week, everyone. Thanks for watching, and just remember again, you don't need to pay to watch the Super Bowl. You can get it for free on Tubi. And if you sign up for a live service to get it, just remember to cancel afterwards.
All right. Yeah. Definitely have fun watching the game and enjoying some good snacks.
Yeah, and we will see you see everyone next Friday.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Yes.